A lot of folks in the gun world seem to think their firearms will just keep chugging along forever without any care. But here's the hard truth. Your go-to pistol, hunting rifle, or favorite shotgun might already be on a downhill slide, and you probably don't even realize it. I'm talking about the slow killers that creep in and wreck your reliability, throw off your groups, and shorten your firearms working life. Today, we're going through 15 bad habits that are quietly eating away at your gun, and one no-cost tip that could seriously double its lifespan. Before we jump in, just a heads up. This list is based on personal experience, tons of real-world input from fellow shooters, smiths, and competitors. It's not meant to shame anyone. It's here to help you avoid common mistakes and keep your guns running strong. Everyone's situation is different, depending on how often they shoot, their environment, and how well they maintain their gear. Number 15. Leaving your firearm stored in a case for months. That padded case you picked up to keep your gun safe? It might actually be working against you. Most hard and soft cases are meant for transport, not for long-term storage, and they do a lousy job of handling moisture. Here's what usually happens. You come back from the range, your firearm's a little warm, maybe you handled it with sweaty hands, and you lock it up inside that foam-lined case. That foam traps in every bit of humidity like a sponge. Worse yet, most cases have no airflow, so all that moisture just lingers, eating away at your gun's metal surfaces. Beautiful rifles have come out of cases looking like they were dragged from a swamp. The first signs of rust show up in sneaky places behind the sights, inside the slide serrations, or around the trigger guard. By the time you spot it, the damage might already be spreading. The fix? Store your firearms in a well-ventilated, dry space not sealed in a box. Number 14. Treating your cleaning rod like a crowbar. This one makes old-school gunsmiths cringe. Scrubbing your barrel like it owes you money does more harm than good. Inside your barrel, there's a specific rifling pattern that stabilizes your bullet as it exits. When you jam a rod back and forth like you're plunging a clogged drain, you're not just fighting that spiral, you're also dragging crude and grit back through areas you already cleaned. But here's the real problem: damaging the crown. That tiny edge at the muzzle is the last point of contact before the bullet exits. A small nick there can ruin your accuracy. And guess what usually causes that damage? Sloppy cleaning. A steel rod smacking the crown over and over can turn your tack driver into a paperweight. The fix? Always clean from chamber to muzzle when possible, and take your time. Number 13. Loading the wrong shell into your shotgun. This one's especially dangerous, and it hits the scattergun crowd hard. Mixing up your shell gauges is easier than you'd think. Let's say you're out chasing ducks with your 12 gauge, but you've also got some 20 gauge shells in your gear from another outing. In the heat of the moment, you grab a shell, think it's 12, but it's actually a 20. That smaller shell drops down into the barrel and lodges itself partway in. If you don't catch it and load a real 12 gauge shell behind it, you've just turned your shotgun into a pipe bomb. The chamber pressure has nowhere to go, and it can split your barrel wide open. Best case scenario, you've trashed a great shotgun. Worst case, you're headed to the ER. The only real solution here is obsessive ammo management. Check every shell before it goes into the tube. Number 12. Using your rifle like a shovel. Too many shooters treat their firearms like all-purpose tools, banging, prying, and dropping them without a second thought. I've seen people hammer tent stakes with a rifle butt, lean shotguns against rocks, and toss handguns into the bed of a pickup like they're made of cast iron. But even a duty-grade firearm has tight tolerances, and a single impact can knock things out of spec. A barrel ding could change your bore diameter and spike pressure. A cracked stock could lead to structural failure. Knock a sight off center, and you're shooting blind. And let's not forget, the muzzle crown, a sharp hit can create imperfections you can't even see. And suddenly, your groups are all over the place. Crown damage is often unfixable without chopping and recrowning. The bottom line? Treat your firearm like the precision machine it is, not a hammer. Number 11. Overlooking internal rust. It's easy to spot rust when it's on the outside, but the stuff you can't see? That's what eats guns alive. A little moisture inside the barrel, action, or chamber can quietly start the corrosion process, especially after a humid day at the range or a rainy hunt. Internal rust doesn't get scrubbed off during a quick surface wipe down, and over time, it compromises feeding, extraction, and accuracy. Rust inside the chamber can mess with how cartridges seat, causing failures to eject or unsafe pressure spikes. Inside the barrel, it attacks the rifling and slowly degrades your shot consistency. By the time you notice it, the damage is often permanent. Prevention is your only real defense. Keep those internals clean, dry, and properly oiled. Number 10. Over-oiling your firearm. This one usually comes from a good place people just trying to protect their guns. But drowning your slide in oil isn't doing it any favors. In cold temps, excess oil can gum up and stop your gun from cycling. In any condition, it turns into a sticky magnet for carbon, grit, and powder residue. That sludge wears down contact points fast. I've seen match pistols jam mid-stage because someone slathered on too much lube, and the result was a sticky, sluggish slide. On top of that, a greasy gun is just messy. Nobody wants to reach for their concealed carry and come away with slick hands. The fix here is simple. Go with a light, even coat of lube, just enough to keep things moving smoothly without turning your firearm into a dirt trap. Number 9. Gambling with cheap or incorrect ammunition. Few habits will wreck a firearm faster or more dangerously than trusting low-grade, poorly reloaded, or mismatched ammo. This one doesn't just kill guns, it can kill you. Imagine loading a .45 automatic Colt pistol round into a 9mm firearm. It won't fit properly in the chamber, but if someone forces it and squeezes the trigger, you've just made yourself a handheld grenade. Even when the caliber is correct, poor quality reloads or factory seconds can cause misfeeds, dangerous overpressure, or outright explosions. I've personally seen barrels swell like sausages from overloaded charges, and I've witnessed pistols grenade because the reloader used the wrong powder or too much of it. Reloaded rounds can be exceptional if crafted with precision and know-how, but it only takes one slip-up with seating depth, primer type, or powder weight to destroy your gun or injure yourself. The golden rule here? Only run ammunition from trusted sources. Quality ammo isn't optional, it's critical. Number 8. Treating your rifle like it's a machine gun. Dumping mags like you're starring in an action flick might look cool on the gram, but sustained rapid fire will roast your barrel in no time. Each shot doesn't just move a bullet down the pipe, it releases a wave of scorching gas that batters the same few inches of steel near the chamber. Do it enough, and you'll warp your barrel's internals beyond repair. High-volume competition shooters know this well. They take breaks between strings to let the gun cool. But I've seen plenty of weekend warriors burn through several hundred rounds in minutes, unknowingly transforming their match-grade barrel into a heat-treated mess. Repeated heating and cooling cycles cause metal fatigue and microscopic warping inside the bore. Once that's done, accuracy goes out the window permanently. The fix is easy. Pace your fire, especially with rifles. Give your barrel time to breathe. And hey, if you're learning something, hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing but keeps this channel alive. Now let's keep going and give your gun the respect it deserves. Number 7. Neglecting to replace worn-out springs. Springs are the quiet workhorses of every reliable firearm, but they're also the most ignored. Every time your slide cycles or a hammer falls, a spring is doing the job and wearing out just a little bit more. Recoil springs in particular are vital. If they get too soft, recoil force slams directly into your frame, causing damage that builds over time. Worn springs also lead to feeding issues, failures to eject, and misfires. The thing is, this kind of wear is subtle. Your firearm doesn't just stop working one day, it slowly becomes less reliable. You might blame faulty ammo or a dirty extractor, but the real culprit could be a firing pin spring that's lost its strength. And in a self-defense scenario, a light primer strike isn't just frustrating, it could be fatal. Stay ahead of the curve, keep track of your round count, and replace springs on schedule. It's preventative maintenance that pays off in peace of mind. Number 6. Dry firing your rimfire like it's built for it. This one hits home for rimfire owners. Unlike centerfire firearms, most rimfire models can't handle dry firing without suffering long-term damage. Why? It comes down to how they're built. In a centerfire, the firing pin strikes a central primer and then usually stops against a reinforced surface. In rimfires, however, the firing pin hits the outer rim of the cartridge. When no cartridge is there, it often smashes directly into the chamber edge or breech face. Do that often enough, and you'll peen the metal, widen your headspace, and wreck the chamber geometry. Eventually, even properly loaded cartridges may fail to ignite because the pin can't make solid contact. The result? Misfires, frustration, and expensive repairs. If you want to practice dry fire drills with a .22 long rifle, invest in proper snap caps or make sure your specific model is designed for safe dry firing. Number 5. Installing cut rate replacement parts. When something breaks, it's tempting to buy the cheapest part on the internet, but that shortcut can cost you far more in the long run. Firearms aren't Lego sets. Precision tolerances and material strength matter. A poor quality extractor or trigger group might function for a few rounds, but it could also create dangerous failures like slam fires, light strikes, or double discharges. Budget springs made from subpar steel tend to fail early and often take more expensive components down with them. I've seen recoil springs snap and allow slides to hammer the frame, cracking both. That $20 deal just became a $500 repair. And don't forget consistency. Poorly machined parts often don't fit properly, which affects timing and reliability. If you care about your gun's safety and performance, do it right. Stick with trusted brands and quality parts built to spec. Number 4. Ignoring loose stock bolts until accuracy falls apart. You'd be surprised how many rifle owners skip this basic but critical check. A stock bolt that's working loose might seem like a minor annoyance, but it can seriously throw off your rifle's accuracy and even threaten its structural integrity. When your action isn't firmly secured to the stock, every recoil impulse becomes an opportunity for damage. Instead of absorbing and distributing the force evenly, your barreled action begins to slam into the stock with each shot. Over time, this can create tiny fractures around the recoil lug area and slowly beat your rifle to pieces. But long before cracks appear, accuracy begins to suffer. A barrel that shifts ever so slightly with each shot makes tight groups nearly impossible, and you'll likely see your point of impact wandering between sessions. What's worse, stock bolts don't need heavy use to come loose. Seasonal temperature swings, environmental moisture, and simple time can cause fasteners to back out. Hunters often discover this the hard way just before a big trip. when they check zero and find everything is off. The fix is simple. Make regular bolt inspections part of your firearm maintenance routine and use the proper torque tools when needed. Number 3. Cleaning from the muzzle like a novice. Even seasoned gun owners sometimes get this one wrong, pushing a cleaning rod into the barrel from the muzzle side instead of from the chamber end. While it might seem harmless, this technique is doing more harm than good. The rifling inside your barrel is designed to guide the bullet in a very specific spiral path from chamber to crown. By cleaning backwards, you're dragging debris against the grain of the rifling and risking depositing fouling in places you've already cleaned. But the biggest issue lies at the muzzle. Every contact your rod makes with the crown, especially if it's metal, has the potential to cause microscopic dings or deformations. The crown is the last part of the barrel the bullet touches, and any imperfection there will throw off accuracy significantly. I've seen high-end precision rifles start grouping like shotguns, all because the crown was gradually damaged from improper cleaning. In most cases, the damage isn't even visible without magnification, but it's enough to ruin performance. The better way? Always clean from the chamber side when possible. Use a bore guide and invest in quality cleaning rods and jags. Number 2. Leaving springs compressed for long-term storage. There's a big myth in the shooting world that springs wear out from repeated use. While cycling does cause wear, the real killer is constant compression. Springs are designed to move, they're not designed to stay squished for months on end. When you store a pistol with the slide locked back or keep a rifle cocked, you're leaving critical springs under full tension. Over time, that constant strain causes the metal to lose elasticity, a condition known as spring set. The result? Springs that no longer return to their proper length and lose the ability to function reliably. This affects your recoil spring, firing pin spring, and even your magazine springs if you leave mags loaded to capacity. A weakened spring won't fail dramatically, it just won't do its job right. Maybe your slide doesn't return fully into battery, or your hammer doesn't strike hard enough to ignite a primer. The good news? Preventing this is totally free. Get in the habit of decocking or easing off tension when storing your firearms, and you can double the service life of your springs. Number 1. Trying to be a gunsmith without the know-how. The fastest way to ruin a perfectly good firearm. Take a screwdriver to it when you have no idea what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to understand your gear, but a little knowledge can be a dangerous thing. Too many shooters think watching a couple of videos online qualifies them to tackle complex firearm repairs. But modern guns are engineered to tight tolerances, and mistakes can be costly or downright dangerous. I've seen shooters try to fix headspace issues on bolt-action rifles, only to turn a $50 job into a $500 disaster, or install cheap aftermarket triggers and carry pistols that end up doubling or failing to reset. One wrong move can compromise timing, ignition, or safety features. You wouldn't pull your own teeth after watching a dental video, so don't rip into your firearm unless you truly understand the mechanics involved. The smarter play? Learn where the line is between regular maintenance and professional gunsmithing. Clean it, lube it, shoot it, but when things get weird, hand it to someone who knows what they're doing. Thanks for sticking around for our breakdown of the 15 habits that can quietly kill your firearm's lifespan. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the most dependable gun you've ever owned? And how many rounds has it survived? If this kind of practical advice is helpful, hit that subscribe button for more tips on gear, survival, and shooting smarter. Until next time, keep your powder dry and your springs relaxed.